Let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is JaQuaveous Miguel, and today I'm going to be talking about the referral and eligibility process for education services. In this video, I'll also explain the roles of general and special education teachers on the multidisciplinary team, why understanding typical child development is important, and share examples of formal and informal assessments used during the psychoeducational evaluation. All right. So let's start with the referral process. A referral usually happens when a teacher, parent, or another school professional notices that a student is consistently struggling in school. Even after receiving support in the classroom or extra credit homework, the students still struggle. Before a student is referred for special education, schools often try to intervene by trying different interventions through a multi-tier system of supports or MTSS to see if those supports help to improve with the student's performance. If those interventions aren't enough, the school begins the referral process. Before any evaluations take place, the school must get written permission from the student's parent or guardian first. Then, once the consent is received, IDEA generally requires the evaluation to be completed within 60 calendar days, although that time may vary by state, so be aware of that. After the evaluations are complete, the multidisciplinary team reviews all of the information and determines whether the student qualifies for special education services. If the student is eligible, an IEP is typically developed within 30 calendar days. All right, so let's talk about the roles of the team. This process is very collaborative and everyone has an important role. The general education teacher shares information about the student's classroom performance, behavior, social interactions, and how the student responded to the interventions. Since they work with the student every day, they can provide more valuable insight into the student's strengths and challenges. The special education teacher helps review assessment results, explain how a disability may impact his or her learning, recommend specialized instructions, and helps develop and implement the student's IEP if they qualify for the services. Understanding typical child development is also a key part of determining eligibility. As educators, we need to know what's developmentally appropriate for students at different ages. That helps us to tell the difference between a student who simply needs more support and a student whose challenging may be caused by a disability. It also prevents students from being identified for special education when other factors may be affecting their learning. Special education teachers use both informal and informal assessments during evaluation process. One example of a formal assessment in the Woodcock-Johnson Test of Achievement is this standardized assessment measures skills, reading, writing, math, and provides objective data about a student's academic performance. An example of an informal assessment is a classroom observation. Observing the student during instructions helps teacher to understand how the student learns, stays engaged, interacts with peers, and responds to different teaching strategies. Sometimes these observations provide information that standardized tests cannot. It's also important that test scores don't tell the whole story. That test scores don't tell the whole story. Teams must consider a student's language, culture, previous educational experiences, and family background. For example, an English learner may be struggling because of the English language barriers rather than a disability. Looking at the whole child helps the team make fair and accurate eligibility decisions. In conclusion, determining eligibility for special education is a team effort. It also takes collaboration, multiple sources of information, and an understanding of each student's unique strengths, by unique strengths and needs. By following IDEA guidelines and considering the developmental, cultural, and environmental factors, educators can make informed decisions that provide students with the support that they need to succeed. Thanks you guys for watching.